There it was, smack in the middle of my property, bold as brass, a massive 3-story concrete structure just squatting there like it owned the place. Picture this. I'd just come back from 2 weeks visiting my daughter out in Colorado Springs, boots still caked with red Arizona dust, and I find a full-blown parking garage on my ranch floodlights. Blazing painted parking lines, even a working elevator stuck to the side. And the thing that gets me is nobody so much as called, emailed, sent a smoke signal. Nothing. I'd been gone 2 weeks. 2 weeks of what was supposed to be just me, my dog Ranger, and a couple of cranky horses. That's what I came back to, a construction crew still honking their horns, some guy in a neon vest hollering like he was king of the world, and then a black SUV pulls up next to me and the window rolls down. There's this woman inside grinning like she's just handed out the Nobel Prize. "You must be the new HOA president. Everyone's thrilled you approved the project. It's already fixing the overflow problem." I stared at her thinking maybe the altitude in Colorado had messed with my head. "Excuse me," I say, and she's already pointing all proud at this monstrosity, the Silver Meadows Estates parking garage. "Genius move, Mr. Bradley. You're a hero." That's when I realize she thinks this is her land now. "Ma'am, this is my ranch." I tell her I'm not part of your HOA. Never was. Her face drops. She rolls up the window and floors it. I turn and wouldn't you know there's a sign on my fence. "Property managed by Silver Meadows HOA. Trespassers will be fined." So let me introduce myself. Name's Jack Bradley, 61, retired firefighter, the kind of guy who buys a ranch with his pension because he's tired of running into burning buildings and just wants a few quiet years with his dog in the sunsets. Bought this 38-acre spread with every cent I had the day I turned in my badge, and I thought, maybe I'd finally earn some peace. Only apparently nobody told Silver Meadows. Cars everywhere. People wandering around my yard like it's Black Friday at the mall, and my suitcase isn't even unpacked. So how did we get here? Let me back up. 3 years ago, I found this stretch of land just outside a sleepy suburb in northern Arizona. No drama, no rules, no HOA, just deer trees. And my daughter Caroline visiting with her 2 kids, her husband tagging along, all of them telling me, "Dad, don't let anyone mess with your land. You worked for this." For a while it was good. But then construction started across the dirt road. Silver Meadows Estates looked harmless at first, just some new families needing a place. But the trucks kept coming closer and louder, and my no trespassing signs started disappearing. That's when they started showing up. First, it was Greg, clipboard guy, says he's checking boundaries for the HOA. I tell him to get lost, nice as I can. Next, it's Marilyn, this woman in her 60s, rolling up in a golf cart like she's the Queen of England. "We've been thinking your land would be perfect for community events," she says. "Maybe we could manage it for you." I just laughed, big mistake looking back. Turns out they had plans. I only learned how deep it went after this trip. I'd locked my gate, left Ranger with my old buddy Tom. He's a retired deputy bum knee, but he looks after the place when I'm gone. Tom calls me just 2 days after I leave. Gates wide open, heavy machinery rolling in. Says the crew told him the HOA sent them, and get this, they claimed I approved it. They showed him permits and paperwork, looked official enough to fool anyone. I told Tom, "You gotta be kidding me." He wasn't. So here I am staring at the garage, and the first thing I do is call the sheriff. "There's a parking garage on my ranch," I say, "and I want them gone." About an hour later, Deputy Monroe shows up, young guy, sharp eyes, takes one look and just shakes his head. "You weren't kidding," he says. He walks the land, snaps some photos, then tells me this isn't just trespassing. If they poured concrete, ran utilities, it's a serious crime. But he'll need proof the land's mine. I hand over the deed title survey, the whole 9 yards. All legal, all current. He nods. Says he'll file a report but has to call the HOA and the county because this goes deeper. Yeah, I didn't like the sound of that either. We're talking by the barn when another black car pulls up. Out steps Marilyn now, all business folder in hand. "Mr. Bradley, She chirps, "I believe we need to review the development agreement you signed last year." I'm standing there stunned. What agreement? She opens the folder. There's my name and signature on the papers. Only problem is I never signed anything. Monroe looks at me, then the documents, then back at me. I just shake my head. That's not my signature. Marilyn just gives this little smirk. We've filed everything with the county. You can't back out now. That's when it hit me. This wasn't some clerical mix-up. They forged my name and they meant business. And then all hell breaks loose. There's a boom from the garage, smoke everywhere, people yelling. Monroe bolts for the building. I follow, adrenaline taking over. Turns out a van caught fire on the second level. Some kids trapped inside, pounding on the glass. I don't think I just move, grab a fire extinguisher, smash the window, haul the kid out just as the flames start licking the engine. My old training kicks in, and thank God the kid lives. Fire trucks come screaming and EMTs everywhere. Once things settle, I turn to Marilyn. That building almost killed someone. She barely blinks. Unfortunate accident, but the land is communal now. That's when I almost lost it. Deputy Monroe's all business says this needs a full investigation. That night, Tom comes over, Caroline calls in. We spread out every document we have, old surveys, permits, titles. We find it a forged easement signed by me, notarized by Linda Porter, the HOA's legal counsel filed with the county. They were building a case to erase me from my own land. Next morning, I storm the county office. The clerk hands me a lease agreement, 40 years, $1 a year, my signature in black ink. This is a fake, I say, but the notary's Linda Porter again. Back home, I call Monroe and show him everything. He says this is criminal forgery, fraud, the whole 9 yards. We're opening a case. Just as I start to breathe, Tom calls Jack, they're back. Cement trucks at your gate. I race over. 4 board members, blueprints in hand, workers pouring concrete for what looks like a security checkpoint, and a shiny new sign, Silver Meadows private access only. I lose it. Not on my land. Marilyn just smirks, claims it's for community safety. I call my lawyer, Mark Hastings, while Monroe tells the workers to shut everything down right now. The tension's sky high, and I'm thinking, what's next? That night, a motion sensor pings 4 men digging near my barn. No lights, no permits. I grab my shotgun, Ranger by my side, and sure enough, they're burying cables, Stonebridge Utilities, and one container reads, property of Hallbrook Development Group. This wasn't about a garage, it was a backdoor utility corridor for some massive development. Monroe shows up, detains the crew. One guy runs off. Marilyn comes back the next morning, this time dressed down, and says quietly, "You're the missing piece, Jack. Without your land, their utility plan goes nowhere. They'll pay you millions." I look at her and all I can think is, you forged my name. You nearly killed a kid. She doesn't argue. Later, Mark discovers that Dan Keller, the county land officer who notarized the easement, also works private contracts with Hallbrook Development. The next day, a black SUV rolls up. A new guy steps out, Colin Bell, suit and tie, says he's from Hallbrook Corporate, hands me a folder. Final offer, $2.4 million. I let it drop in the dirt. You forged, trespassed, bribed, lied. I'm not selling. That evening, the story explodes, news breaks. Monroe confirms a criminal case. Mark files a fraud complaint, and 2 reporters from Phoenix News 7 show up at my barn. Caroline tells her side, Tom hands over security footage, and by sundown the whole state's buzzing. Bulldozers come back the next morning, not to build but to tear down the garage. Only they start digging a trench toward my barn. Monroe and I dig it up, find a metal box, blueprints, USB drives, all for Phase 2 development. Turns out the garage was a decoy. The real plan was a commercial airstrip with every inch of it routed through my land. By week's end, Mark gets the files to the state attorney general. Marilyn's arrested in New Mexico. Colin Bell gets hauled out of Hallbrook HQ in cuffs. The garage is demolished, cables dug up and hauled off, and the court awards me a settlement. I don't take a penny. I donate it all to a firefighter charity in my late wife's name. We repaint the barn, fix the gate, put in solar security. One night, Caroline sits with me on the porch. Dad, you did it. I show her one last page from the files, a single line that says, if I hadn't fought back, they would have used eminent domain to take my land anyway. But we got there first. Injunctions filed, the scam exposed, and for now, me, Ranger, and the land finally get some peace. Not because I fought harder, but because I fought smarter with the truth, with grit, and with people who wouldn't quit on me. So I gotta ask, where are you watching from? Have you ever had to stand your ground against people who thought they were bigger than the law? Because this land, it's still here, and now the whole state's watching. If you've ever fought for what's right or tangled with folks like this, drop your story in the comments. Let's see who's really got justice on their side.